Hey guys, we have an opportunity to do a product demo on a nice little product here. This is the Ruko F11GIM2 Drone. This device is advertised as being capable of handling some heavy winds, has 4K video capability, has a range of 1.8 miles, which for those of us in the United States, technically, that's overkill because we got to be able to maintain visual contact unaided with our drone. So 1.8 miles, that'd be pushing it. It looks like it's going to be a fairly easy device to test and evaluate and fly. And we're going to tell you what we think about this drone. Occasionally, we will receive a communication from a business who would like us to do a video on one of their products, to review their products and tell you all what we think about their product. We're very reluctant to do that generally. Several reasons. One, we got burned with one product that really wasn't very good. Number two, sometimes the products that they want us to place don't fit our channel. So recently we got an email from the company named Ruko. They make drones, and I really wasn't familiar with the brand until we got the email. They wanted to send us a drone so we can actually do an evaluation of the drone and tell you all what we think. Well, coincidentally, we've been considering upgrading our drone because it doesn't have the features that we would like. So this offer was perfectly timed. So they did send it to us, and we went ahead and started doing some research on it, and we're going to tell you what we think. So what they sent us was the Ruko F11GIM2 Drone. We're going to get into the features, advantages and disadvantages of this product as we get into the video a bit more. But this is basically what the drone, got the drone, controller, battery, and hardware pack all in a nice carrying case. Looks like a nice assembly. We have the drone itself, and then we have my smartphone. And this is a controller. We actually have a small display screen and some control functions here. The joysticks are conveniently stored down here, and you screw those in. Less chance of breaking those off. The upgraded controller does not offer a Wi-Fi connection. The controller comes with two cables. One is for Android and one is for iOS. And I happen to have an Android. Also, your antenna for controlling your drone is in the top of the device holder. Take the drone out. Make sure the lens cover is removed. I've already got the lens cover off on this. And then you spread out the arms. The battery takes up the top portion of the drone. To change the battery, you simply push in on the two buttons on either side and pull up. And then reinstall. Push it back down, you get a good click. Now my drone registration number I have put over here, and your SD card slot is here. Make sure you got a nice formatted, ready to go SD card. I myself like to have a drone checklist. It just helps me remember to get things done in the proper sequence, so I go ahead and I use that. The joystick controls are similar to other drones. To increase in altitude, you press the left joystick forward, down, pull it backwards. To yaw to the left or right, just move the joystick to the left or right. For the right joystick, to move the drone forward, you push forward. To move it back, you push back. Push to the left to fly left, push to the right to fly right. On the right side, you have an index finger controller that controls the angle of the camera from forward to almost straight down. And on the left side of the controller, you can control the camera zoom with your index finger. Power up the drone with and it goes through the power up procedure. Then I power up my device and activate the app. Once you power up the handset, it takes about 40 seconds for the drone to communicate with the controller. During startup, the software prompts you to perform the compass calibration. And then we have the picture. The camera comes alive, and you can see my hand over here, and she's ready to go. If you're going to use the drone for a video operation, I like to turn my camera on before I launch, and that way I don't have to worry about it once it's airborne. And then to unlock the motors, you push in and down simultaneously, and the drone powers up. Now, we don't actually have the drone powered up right now because we are in Class Delta airspace for the Oceana Naval Air Station. They sort of frown on that. So we're going to go to an area outside the airspace to conduct an actual flight operation. The first function we're going to test is the GPS follow mode. To activate this, from your device, select the left button down on the left-hand side, then select the GPS follow mode. To disengage, press the button again. The drone camera will then follow the controller, maintaining the established altitude and distance from the controller. The next function we tested was the image follow mode. The process is similar to the first one. Third button down on the left-hand side, and the first button's labeled image follow. You then take your finger on your device and draw a box around yourself or the object you wish to track. The software will then track the image as it moves. The drone maintains a fixed position and altitude with the camera tracking the target. I tested all the controls for the drone and found them to be very responsive. The video quality was very good. The only drawback was the operator's lack of experience with handling this particular drone. How do we fix that? Practice. I want to go on record by saying I am not an expert when it comes to drones. I'm not an expert with FAA regulations. We use drone footage in conjunction with our YouTube channel to add an extra dimension to our videography. I also coincidentally hold a commercial pilot certificate. I've been flying airplanes since I was 17. So I have a good working knowledge of FAA regulations, and I opted to go ahead and get my 107 certification, so I'm legal to operate our drone for a monetized YouTube channel. But here are some of the things that we need to take into consideration when operating drones. Number one, most all drones will have to be registered with the FAA before you fly it. The process is simple. You go online to the FAA's website, Drone Zone, and you can register your drone there. Now, how much is it going to cost you? Well, they charge you the same amount of money as if you're registering an actual airplane. It's going to set you back $5, folks. That's how much it costs. So the price is pretty insignificant. They'll give you a serial number. You will then attach that to your drone, and then you're legal to operate on that level. Now, I touched on the 107 certification. Even if you're not going to be a 107 pilot, you really need to understand the airspace system and the regulations. Here is a copy of Google Maps for our area. It's pretty much innocuous, just showing all the roads and areas of interest. Now, this is a copy of an up-to-date version of the FAA Navigation Chart for visual pilots. You notice a lot of airspace markings in there. It's kind of important that even drone operators, all drone operators, know what these airspace markings are, what they mean, and the restrictions. So after you get your drone and you go online and you register your drone, strongly recommend you go to the app provider for your phone and download the app that you're going to need for either an Android or an Apple operating system, so you can then use the app in controlling your drone. Secondly, the FAA has contracted with a service provider to provide another app for your phone, which I strongly recommend. It's free. It's Before You Fly. You could then open the app and get real-time information on airspace and make sure that the airspace you're in is airspace that you can operate your drone in. Another important point, I would feel remiss if we didn't bring it up, and that is the remote ID requirements for all drones that's going to go into effect September 16th, 2023. That's less than a month away from the date of this recording. As of right now, the Ruko F11GIM2 has been authorized by has been approved by the FAA and the FCC as a remote ID drone. However, the manufacturer informs me they had not yet worked all the bugs out of the system to officially call it the remote ID drone. They do assure me it's going to happen before September 16th. Well, I dug a little deeper and I found out that the vast majority of drones on the market in the United States today don't meet the requirement either. Only a handful do. So maybe it's been my experience that sometimes the FAA will push back the requirements if the industry is not ready to bring products to market to meet the requirement, but that's not an absolute. So that's where you're at right now with the remote ID for drones. Now, you can buy an aftermarket remote ID module available on Amazon for about $200, and you can attach it to your drone and go that direction. Yeah, if you want to. And as a result of that, my current drone, which is only 3-4 years old, it's going to become a paperweight as of September 16th because it does not have, and I doubt I will plug a remote ID module into an obsolete drone with limited features and functionality. So some of the other features we were not able to demonstrate during the flight portion is the drone has a capacity for hand gesturing control. You would think with my ability to talk with my hands I should do that, but I may send it off to Never Never Land. It also has the ability to follow specific waypoints that you design and follow those waypoints. It has the return to home function if you lose control or lose sight of your drone. It also has 2 other modes for the return to home. If the battery level gets low, it will automatically engage the return to home sequence and come back and land at your takeoff spot. If the battery's too low, it'll simply land where it can, almost straight down. That's preferable to the battery dying and it just tumbling out of the sky. Secondly, if it loses contact with the controller or the GPS, it will then return to your launch site and land there. So 2 automatic return to homes. The drone also has an emergency stop button, which is on the left side next to the left joystick. If you press that button and you hold it for 3 seconds, it is an emergency procedure only because the drone will stop and it will tumble out of the sky.
Not a good thing. It also has the capability of finding the drone, which is kind of important if you're in the wilderness. I haven't had a chance to really delve into that yet, but I'm going to get into that and let you know what I think about that. In summary, it is pretty straightforward. Has a few more bells and whistles compared to what we used to have. Keep in mind, it's not a toy, and you want to make sure you operate it within the recommended limitations of the manufacturer and the FAA if you're operating in the United States. It is a nice piece of equipment that we're going to be happy to add to our inventory for videography. And the big question, would I go out and buy this drone? Well, I had never heard of the Ruko drone before, which is probably why they're reaching out to other YouTubers and trying to get us to talk about the drone a little bit. And now that they have, yeah, I would definitely consider this drone compared to the other brand leaders that's out there. It seems to do the job well, and I'm anxious to actually get it out in the field and try it on some trips. So there you have it. That's what we think about the Ruko F11GIM2 Drone.
Get gone.